Well, it turns out I can't run a tape measure. Probably need to get these old eyes checked, and looks like we're redoing it. Hey, what's going on, people? It's JK Day. So I'm taking a couple days off from working on the stupid rental that I talked about in the last video. The JK needs a tone ring on the right rear, which is what the ABS sensor kind of reads off of. So let's jump into it. And sorry, the only way I'm letting y'all help me is if you can prove to me the last time you had a tetanus shot, because you need it to be within 10 feet of this damn thing. Now, in order to get that tone ring off, you have to pull the whole axle shaft out, and honestly, I don't know if you can even get it off without cutting it off and just replacing it. So there's a bunch of different options for just buying new stuff versus trying to reuse stuff. Luckily, I do have a shop press, so that ain't a problem. But a little bit later in the video, I'll kind of get into why I chose what I did, and that was to just get a new axle shaft. But I got the wrong one. So that is the tone ring. That is the ABS sensor, and it picks up this signal for your speed and your ABS and stuff. But you see how it has a groove in it? Now, it got that groove because something broke on these brakes, which I've already replaced, and it just dragged on it, and it just cut a groove into it. And I thought that the new sensor would fix it, but it didn't. So in order to change this, we have to pull this whole thing off of here. Old PB Blaster's our best friend on this one. Alright, so the first thing I did, I took the caliper off, took the new rotor off to kind of expose everything, and then there's these 4 bolts. They're actually, it's a retaining ring. If you look, there, it's a stud. So there's 1, 2 on the bottom. They're 18s. They're really kind of rusty on this. That's why I bought a new one of these just in case, but I actually got all 4 of them free. And this is what holds your axle shaft in the diff, because there's no C-clips in there. So once this is free, pretty much a slide hammer or a carefully placed hit right here should be able to pop this whole thing loose. Alright, so they're all free now, so you can see this thing is freed up. So I'm going to just grab an 8mm so I can pull this ABS sensor out of there, and we're going to see if we can't pull this sucker out of here. I'm really missing having most of my good tools at work because I'm kind of skimping on what I've got here. Like, all my ratcheting wrenches are there, but I'm making do with what we got. Holy cow, that thing's in there good. You wouldn't think it would be so tight since I just replaced it not that long ago, but here we are. There we go. I think that's far enough to where it's out of the way of that flange. That's the biggest thing, is that you just don't want, because the flange will hit it if you leave the whole thing in there. But well, let's see if this thing wants to play nice, if we're gonna have to beat the crap out of it. I barely have room to hit this without hitting the brakes. I don't have a slide hammer either. There we go. So what I don't want is gear oil to run out of here. I do have this side jacked up by the frame a little bit. Actually, the axle's still up higher thanks to the sway bar, so we should probably be good. There's that. And the race stayed in there, of course. Okay, there it is. So the bearing race stayed in there. I got a couple ways I can deal with that. And this is how this setup is. You got a retainer, you got a bearing, you got the race also, which sits over the bearing. This is that retainer plate thing that holds the whole works in, and the tone ring. Getting all of this off here is going to be really extremely difficult, and that's why I kind of just went with the new axle shaft. I thought it was a complete one like this. Came with the lock ring, the bearing, the race, and the seal. The tone ring was 25 bucks extra, and I bought one of these just in case I can't reuse this. So now to get the race out, it doesn't want to come by hand, So if you've got one of those jaw pullers, you can switch it over to internal. You can do that. One of the oldest tricks in the book is just to run a bead of weld right on it, because it'll heat it up, it expands, and then it shrinks, and then it pops right out. So I'm gonna try to knock it out of there, and if that don't work, we're gonna weld it. Oh, look at that, it's coming right out. Oh, it's so close. Again, all the tools that I need for this would be at work. This is literally a piece off of my cherry picker. But we got it. And everything looks pretty good in there. So this is a 2007 Rubicon. It's kind of rusty, aka the Rusticon. That's why I've been getting all the rust off of it and recoating the frame. So if you're wondering why it looks weird, that's why. So it seems like most people are actually just cutting this to get it off. Now maybe you could heat it off and get in here with some kind of a punch and knock it off of there, and the bearing and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of work for a maybe. And so to me, that's why it just made sense to buy the whole unit. Now I thought I was buying a complete one, and I ended up not getting that. But the reason being, just for this collar, the bearing, and the seal, the cheapest I could find that was like $70 some. This was $27, and then this was another 20 something. By the time you add that all up, I got that whole axle shaft over there that I'm about to show you for 150 bucks. Now I thought it was complete, and it wasn't, so I still had to spend the $27 on this, which is fine. And now that means I can just throw this in the corner and go mess with new parts. I don't even have to touch that. So that's the part number for the retainer thing. That's the part number for the tone ring. And then over here, I'll look up the part number that I bought for this, but like I said, this was like 150 bucks on Rock Auto. It's cheaper if you have a Sport or something. Comes with new studs. This is that tone ring, so I gotta press that on there first. And it also came with seal, bearing, race, and the retainer. So I'm gonna clear out my press area and we'll get going. Look, it's gonna run into my center bar, so I'm gonna have to space these up a little bit because I can't go up one more hole because I'm literally all the way up with my ram already. Well, I think I got just enough room. I'm gonna do this one manually instead of using the air over hydraulic just because it's kind of sketch. Okay, quick note, when you're pressing this tone ring on, don't just press it on all the way because you'll get it way too close to this and then your sensor won't line up. Alright, so the next thing that goes on there is this retainer, and I decided I didn't feel like trying to cut the old one off, so we're just going to use the new one. So then after that, it's going to be the seal. I put a little bit of grease on there, and you want this closed side facing toward the axle flange, and this open side facing toward the center section. So pretty much like this. So now the bearing's going to go on, and this is important that you get this on there the right way. The race is already on here, but you see how you've got the race is thin here and the race is thick there. So you want that thicker side to go in, like toward the axle. So I should be able to throw this back in the press now, press this all the way down, and then put this on. And I could maybe just press these both at the same time, to be honest with you. Ooh, that just barely goes, but it goes. So we're having the same issue down there. I've only got about 1 inch that I can press this before it runs into that bar, but once I get them started, I may be able to just scoot it back here to where it misses it. We'll see. Well, as usual, the battery died right in the middle of that. See those little 1/2 inch plate pieces in there? I had to shim this up just a little bit more in order for it to clear that, to get this seated all the way down to the little shoulder, and we are there now. This has a little bit of play it's supposed to, so I believe it's ready to stab back in. So here's a little bit of a side-by-side. One thing I've noticed is I actually pressed this tone ring on quite a bit closer to the flange than this one was. So I'm gonna test fit it and hopefully it still lines up, because I honestly don't know if I can get that to come back out. So we're just gonna hope it works. So I measured off the back side of the flange out to where this was at. Yeah, it was over 1/4 inch on too far, so I had to pull it off. And the way I did that was with a bunch of chisels. I just kind of got behind here and just tapped a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and I just kept doing that, and it just slowly worked its way out. There's like 1 or 2 teeth where I got the tiniest little burr on there, so I'm gonna get a needle file and clean those up real quick, and then we're ready to throw this back in. These are dual patterns, so I still need to put these in. Forgot I got a new toy for my air hammer, the pusher. We use these at work all the time and they're awesome, so I bought one for home. My air hammer sucks.
You know, men, when we want a job done right and we want it done quick, what do we need? More power! Darn right, more power.
Well, my air hammer sucks, so I'm just gonna do it the fun way. So there's what we've got, and there's the ABS sensor, so I'm kind of wanting to see how well that lines up. This hole that it goes through is kind of crunchy on this thing, so it doesn't want to easily push in. You see I got about 1/4 inch to go, and I got about 1/4 inch to go to pull that all the way in, so I'm thinking it's going to line up pretty good. Okay, that's seated, and there we go. We got a nice little tolerance there, decent little air gap, so hopefully it won't chew it up again. This is your best friend right here when you live in the Midwest. Short well's getting too short, and I don't have room for a deep well in here, so we'll have to switch to the old wrench. And the torque spec on these is good and tight. Are you fucking Well, it turns out I can't run a tape measure, and I put these studs in the wrong holes. That must be 5 on 5 and 5 on 5.5. I thought I measured 5 on 4.5 and 5 on 5, so probably need to get these old eyes checked, and looks like we're redoing it. All right, I got them switched over. Let's try this again. Hey, look at that. Turns out, if you put them in the right holes, it'll go back together. Thing's full of damn spider webs. I did all these new brakes and then pretty much never drove it. See that right there? That's called my built-in torque wrench. I just grabbed this elbow and give her a tug. Yep, that's about 96 foot-pounds. I'm gonna fire it up right quick. Can't really move anywhere. I want to see if that ABS light goes out. I'm gonna guess it might take a minute, or I might have to move a little bit. Okay, so apparently the light don't want to go off just sitting here, which means we got to take it for a drive, which means I got to get my YJ started. It's in the driveway blocking this in here, and it's not wanting to run right now. So let me see if I can get that thing moved so we can take this thing for a rip. All right, it's a couple days later. This hasn't moved or started in 4 weeks, and it's not running right, but I want to try to start it and get it out of the way so that we can pull this JK out, and I got to move these quads. This thing's been getting rained and snowed on. You can see water dripping out of it down there. So it probably has a wet seat. Oh yeah, it's wet. Let's see if she'll start. That don't sound very good. I'll just get it moved before it dies. Oh, that really don't sound good. Horrible. I've suspected for a while now that my power steering pump's going out, and I think this is kind of the proof. Boy, I've been here tight. So far, the lights have not gone away, which kind of sucks, because I would have thought as soon as I started rolling that they would have. Well, let's see if some speed will help it change its mind. I'll tell you one thing, this is the first time I've driven it since I fixed the exhaust. It has never been this quiet. This is kind of cool. It's really pissing me off that this isn't fixing it though. I'm gonna have to hook the scanner up and see what's up. Maybe one little trip up to 55. Huh. Well, I can hit that little ESP off button and one of the lights goes out. Hard to shift and steer and film with one hand. That just really sucks. So there's no codes, but since I have the advanced, I forget where to find it, but I have the advanced Dodge Chrysler software on this thing, so I can get into the ABS. I think I have to go into here. So now I'm getting left front. That was never a problem before, but seems like the right rear is nowhere to be seen on here. So luckily when I bought those ABS sensors, I bought a pack of 4. So it has 2 fronts and 2 rears. So I should be able to get that changed out and get that dealt with. That's not gonna be in this video. This scanner has all the stuff. Like, it has so much stuff that you can mess with in here. It's pretty cool. Well, it's safe to say before I pull this back in, I got some cleanup to do because this Jeep's been sitting here for a while. But anyway, in this box so cleverly labeled JK shit, or wait, nope, it's in this box. There's 2 brand new front ABS sensors, so should be able to get that cleared and then we should be good to go. Well, I didn't quite get the light off, but I know what I gotta do now, so that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And if you watched the last video from the JK, remember I was talking about another bumper that I was gonna put on there, so I got that done, got it painted up. It looks pretty good. It's not smashed up like the other one was. Now my cross member, focus. Cross member's still a little dented there, as you can see right there, but I also fixed the sway bar, so you probably noticed that sway bar light wasn't on.